Excellent. As long as we have
You don't have to explain. Even I feel uncomfortable saying it.
I've always been. We'll go around, Jane. You're going to get a different seat. Brilliant.
Okay with
Thank
that?
you so much. And cartels, okay? Oh, my knees. What I'll do, I'll go sideways a little bit. I should be alright. A bit handicapped. Thanks, Prabhu. Haribol. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivadari Yasodanandana Jaya Praja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Jaya Praja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Jaya Praja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Jaya Praja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasade Go back to Vrindavan Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasade Go back to Vrindavan Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo, bolo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Bol. Bolo, bolo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya. Haribo, 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 Nichai go, Haribo, Agona, Haribo, Go, Premanande, Jai Shri Radha Gokulananda, Shri Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman, Shagurani Tai, Ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bhagavad Gita class tonight. We'll just recite the invocation mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Right, we'll recite the Sanskrit. I'll put my glasses. I don't think I. So we're reading from the 17th chapter, text 19, and we're on text 19. 17th chapter is entitled Divisions of Faith, and we'll just recite the Sanskrit. We'll do call and response. I'll do each line. Mudha griyanta mano yat. If you want to respond. Pidya kayate tapa. Parashaya statantarantam va. Tattamasyam udritam. Mudha kriyana mano yat. Pidya kriyate tapa. Parashyota tanaratam va. Tattamasyam udaritam. Mudha kriyana manato yat. Mano. Pidya kriyate tapa. Parasyo shatantaram va. Tattamasyam udritam. So in response, please, we're just going to do the word for word translation. Mudha, foolish. Grihena, with endeavor. Atmana, of one's own self. Yat, which. Apidyaya, by torture. Kriyate, is performed. Tapa, penance. Parasya, to others. Utsana artam, for the sake of causing annihilation. Va, or. Tat, that. Tamasyam, in the mode of darkness. Ujutam is said to be. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Penance performed out of foolishness with self-torture to destroy or injure others is said to be in the mode of ignorance. And we'll just read that together. I'll just do a line and then call in response. Penance performed out of foolishness, with self-torture or to destroy or injure others, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. So there are instances of foolish penance undertaken by demons like Hiranyakashipu, who performed austere penances to become immortal and kill the demigods. He prayed to Brahma for such things, but ultimately he was killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. To undergo penances for something which is impossible is certainly in the mode of ignorance. Om Agina Taramandasha Gananjana Shalaikaya Shakshu Militamina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shavasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishnu Talishmani Shri Ram Swami. So we're just reading from this Bhagavad Gita, and as I explained a few times in the previous class, is the introduction to Bhagavad Gita. It's like about 30 to 40 pages, and in there Prabhupada gives the understanding or the explanation of the 5 subject matters of Bhagavad Gita. So the first subject is Ishwara, the Supreme Person, the Supreme Lord. So understanding the Supreme, the Jiva, the living entity, the spirit soul, ourselves, Prakriti, material nature, and Kala, eternal time, and last of all is Karma. Karma is is temporary. The rest of them are eternal. So the Bhagavad Gita covers all the most esoteric and also the most important subject matters of spiritual awakening and self-realization. So, you know, the Bhagavad Gita is actually it's a message for everyone. It's not just a single message for Hindus or, you know, or like the Bible's just for Christians, but the actual Bhagavad Gita, it starts on the platform of the spirit soul, the difference between the body and the soul. And so as a soul, when you get spirit soul, who we are actually, as Prabhupada explains, the first step in Krishna consciousness is to understand, you know, you're not this body, you know, and there's a difference between the body and the soul. And the body, it's not that we're in the body, well, we actually are in the body, but we're the soul in the body. We're not the body. The soul is, as we are, the spirit, as I am, is not of any bodily designation or any geographical designation. The spirit soul, our identity, is a part and parcel of a Supreme Lord, and is like a little spark from a big fire. And when the spark's out the fire, the spark can lose its glare, it can lose its warmth. And that's our situation in the material world. We've stepped away from our original home like fish out of water. And we're in the material world, down here in the prison house, the school of hard knocks. It's not that we knock it too much. It's a place. It's a good place in a way because it's a means to an end. The material world's built in such an amazing way that it can get you back to Krishna, it can get you back to God. Because after a while being here, you start to feel like a fish out of water. As Prabhupada explains, it's no place for a gentleman. So this eternal message, the Bhagavad Gita is actually translated. Gita means song, and Bhagavan means supreme. So it's the song of God. And it was last spoken 5,000 years ago. And then you say, wow, that's quite a long time. How long before that? Oh, 120 million probably. Oh, how long before that? Oh, always much longer. Because it's an eternal message and it's originally spoken. But luckily now we've had it written down, because in the ancient times when this great knowledge, this transcendental knowledge spoken by the spiritual master, the pure devotees, they would have, they'd be called Shruti Dharas. They would have knowledge of, they wouldn't forget what they heard. They could hear it once and they'd remember it. So they didn't have to write anything down. But it's only in the last 5,000 years in Kali Yuga, this age that we're in quite a dark age now. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but no, it's the Iron Age. And, there's four main ages. There's Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. Satya Yuga is the golden age. Treta Yuga is like the silver age. And Dwapara Yuga is like the bronze age. And Kali Yuga is the Iron Age. We're in the Iron Age of quarrel. And the nature of Kali Yuga is to divide and conquer. I don't mean to sound glary or depressing. It's not depressing because it's actually very positive. Because in Kali Yuga, the intelligent person, it doesn't take much for them to feel the burn, as they say, or feel the pressure of the way of life in this age. There's so much disturbance and so many wars just break out. Prabhupada explains the wars break out. They're like bamboos in the sun. Bamboos, they rub together, and through no reason there's a cohesion, and then a spark appears and it just flares up. So, many things going on in this age. But the great fortune is that if anyone's that was lucky. I usually spill it down myself. Right, okay. But in this age, if anyone, of course, everyone's got intelligence. Krishna's in the heart; he gives intelligence. But if one uses their intelligence, becomes reflective, one can see that this, one may ask themselves, Tata Brahma Jigyasa, who am I? Why am I here? What's this place? Why do I suffer? What's it all about? And that's a very important question. That's the most important question. That's the start of spiritual life, is when we ask that question sincerely. Because Krishna's in the heart. The Lord is on the altar as well. He's there, the deity. He's in the form there. Because God is not formless. He has form. And He's in our heart as well as a super soul. And He knows what we're thinking and feeling. And Krishna wants us to come back all the time. He's knocking on the door, But we're not hearing. We're looking over there, at our phone and at the music and all the glare, all the tinsel, like in the material world. We're all, the material energy is very strong. But Krishna wants us to come back more than we want to go back to Him, because He's our original Father. And the mother is like the Vedas. The scriptures are like the mother. And Krishna's the Father. But we're too busy in the material world. We're looking away, walking into the door. And this material world, it's as I explained about those 5 different energies that Bhagavad Gita explains in the introduction. Srila Prabhupada goes through about Ishwara, the Supreme, Jiva, the soul, and Prakriti, material nature. Material nature is Krishna's energy as well, but it's Maya. Maya means not this. The material energy is governed by Krishna's glance and comes in the form of Maya. she's a checking force. She bewilders us. And the material world looks so nice, so fascinating, but then it always stings us. And so it's actually through chanting Hare Krishna, you learn to overcome these. You learn to work over the material energy. Krishna explains Tesam Sata Yuktanam. No, Devi He Sugunamaye Mama Maya Darantaya Mami Vya Prapanyante Mayami Tam Tarantati. This divine energy of mine, the material world, consistent of three modes of material nature, is very difficult to overcome. But for one who surrenders unto me, I help him cross without fail. Because Krishna's in the heart. He knows what you know, when he sees you ask that question, Atata Brahma Jigyasa, who am I? What's it about? Dear Lord, how can I know you? How can I come and see you? And like George Harrison's song, I really want to know you, And Krishna answered his prayers, So Krishna's in the heart and he knows our sincerity. If we're sincere, then he'll send us a representative, a sincere representative. Because it's hard to take the spiritual path seriously or go get serious in a way or seriously follow without the guidance of a spiritual master. So I'm just bit of an introduction there. Now this Bhagavad Gita, we're on like the last part of Bhagavad Gita here. It has 18 chapters. And the first 6 chapters is divided into 3 parts. The first part of Bhagavad Gita is the first 6 chapters are like karma yoga, which means how you can work or work towards Krishna and your relationship. And it's sort of like let live, how to live in spiritual life using your activities in a spiritual way towards your God consciousness, your actual progressive path. The middle part of Bhagavad Gita is the essence. And I just want to say one thing quick. Things usually go in 1, 2, and 3, but in this case, it's gone in 1, 3, and 2. At the back is the actual the last verses, the last chapters, the last 6 chapters are the process. But what Prabhupada's presented Bhagavad Gita so kindly that in the first 6 chapters is the sambandha, the working on a relationship, and then in the center he's given you the prayojan, the goal. Because for us living entities, and if we work on a relationship, if we don't see the goal close enough to us, it's very difficult for us to work on the process of purification. So in the center of Bhagavad Gita is actually bhakti. Like I say, the first part is let live, and the middle part is let love. It's about love or devotion to Krishna, and this is the essence. The chapters 7 to chapter 12. So as I'm just referring to this chapter, we're on chapter 17. These are the last 6 chapters, and these are the let go chapters. Let go, as they say, let live, let love, and let go. This is the process of detachment and how to apply, how to let go of the material world. And there's a bit of work involved. But Prabhupada is giving it to us in a nice, simple format, because he explains that in this age of Kali Yuga, in the age of quarrel, the real required process is to chant God's names. It's the chanting of the Lord's names. Harinam, Harinam, Eva Kivalam, Kaluyana, Stephen, 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 Gatya Evya, Anyata. In this dark age of Kali Yuga, there's no other way. There's no other way. Just chant the holy name of the Lord. Even in the Lord's Prayer in Christianity, they say, hallowed be thy names, and in some of the Muslim faith, they chant Allah, Allah Akbar, they're glorifying the Lord. And so when you chant God's names, the Lord and His name are different, and it purifies the heart, it purifies the consciousness. Because as we're spirit souls, we're covered by so many layers. No doubt we got this body, right? This body's here, this vehicle that's made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether, Prabhupada explains in chapter 7, text 4, earth, bhumi, water, jala, agni, vayu, akash, made up of those 5 elements. And then underneath this material body, there's the subtle elements: mind, mana, intelligence, buddhi, false ego, ahankara. There's these subtle elements. And when you chant Hare Krishna, it cleanses these subtle elements. Jai Shri Radha Gokulananda Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Shagorani Tai Ki Jai. Because you can't cleanse the kama, krodha, lobhya, mana, and matsya, the lust, the anger, the greed, the envy, the madness and the illusion. You can't get rid of that without mercy of God, actually. And because you can't do it. You can do some yoga, that's very good for heightening the consciousness and stretching and helping with some process of purification of the body and some subtle processes. But when you chant Hare Krishna, this takes away all those, neutralizes our anarthas, the unwanted things in the heart, these unwanted anartha and a not wanted artha, like something of value, and it has no value. So through Krishna's mercy, when we call upon the Lord sincerely, we chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare means the energy of God. Krishna means all attractive. And Rama means the reservoir of pleasure. And when we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, this can give us the greatest benefit. And but before we chant the holy name, the Hare Krishna mantra, we should chant the Panchatattva mantra. This is the 5 truths. The Lord Krishna came in the form of a devotee. In the middle there, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the yellow. Lord Chaitanya, and we chant Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shavasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. And that helps us get rid of any offences when we chant the holy name of God, because we're actually not knocking ourselves too much. We're pretty down in the material world. We're coming from quite a lowly position, and but Krishna's been very kind to, because he's our original father. He wants us to call upon him and out of love, but he doesn't make us. He gives us a choice, the free will. But he only sees the good, and But we chant. We pray to forgive us for offences while we chant. There's different stages of chanting. But when Krishna sees us chanting and hears us, he's like a child. The child is, he's got his lozenge. The father has bought him some sweets and he's chewing away and he's bimbling around. He comes up to his dad and he's, he might be snot coming out his nose or whatever, and he pulls the lozenge out and he offers it to his dad out of love, and the father doesn't say, "Don't give me that, it's dirty." He'll reciprocate out of love. And that's our situation in the material world when we chant Krishna's name, when we call upon him. Because we are, so the first, dare I say it, the first item of knowledge is humility. And we should chant with a humble state of mind. Tanadapi sanichena tareva sahishuna nimanina manidina kirtanya sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So it's humble humility. Dare I speak of it? Life is humbling. So, but if one chants with humility and with calling upon the Lord with feeling, Prabhupada said, try and chant with feeling, Hare Krishna. Try to hear and call like a baby to the mother. That's the mood of chanting. That's the mood. So I thought I'd just say something on that because it's a bit of a shortcut to the point, but in this age, I suppose things are full of shortcuts, and if it's a shortcut to God consciousness in certain ways, it's not a bad thing. But still, we need to read the books as well, because we need to know why we're doing these things. We need some philosophy, some explanations. I haven't even got to the verse yet. The actual we did read the verse, but haven't really spoken on it. So yeah, that was the part about the three sections of Bhagavad Gita. In the 18th chapters, there's three different: the beginning, the middle, and the end. And the 16th chapter, the chapter just before this, Prabhupada was speaking about the divine and demoniac natures. And the conclusion of the previous chapter was that those who are divine, they follow the instruction of spiritual authorities, not blindly, but they inquire, and they have the intelligence to follow bona fide authorities. But those who are demoniac, they don't follow authority, spiritual authority. They follow their own whims of their mind, their speculations, and they think they can make it on their own. So this is more demoniac mentality. So that was the conclusion of the 16th chapter. Now we're on the 17th chapter. This is called Divisions of Faith, and it talks more about the three modes of material nature as well. Now these three modes of nature are very important: goodness, passion, and ignorance, sattva-gun, rajagun, and tamagun. And we in the material world, as pure spirit souls, covered by the contaminated body, in a way, and we're contaminated by the modes of nature, because these three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, they govern everything that goes on in the material world. There's chapter 14 of Bhagavad Gita is called the three modes of material nature, and that goes into some details. So the mode of goodness is the symptoms of goodness is happiness, but not just happy, blind happiness. It's knowledge. And the mode of passion, that's like, because the mode of goodness is represented like a yellow color, and it's called sattva-gun. Guna means a rope. Sattva means a rope of goodness. And they're like three gunas. They're the three ropes: sattva-gun, rajagun, and tamagun. And they're actually connected to us, each living entity. And when they're intertwined, they're very strong. And we're in the material world under the modes of nature. But when you chant the names of God and surrender one's heart, Krishna takes away, not instantly, but gradually starts to loosen the ropes of material nature. And we become more spiritual minded and can cross over the material, from the material to the spiritual. Because it's very important, because at the time of death, when we leave our body, that's what determines our destination. And so actually Krishna consciousness cut it down. It's also the lessons of how to leave the world. It's how to really understand how to leave this world and not return. Because whatever you think of at the time of death, yam yam vapismaram bhavam tijati nam alanta kivaram. Whatever one is thinking at the time of death, that state he attains without fail. And it takes practice, so we should practice our spiritual routines: rising early, bathing, chant the holy name, chant Hare Krishna, try and read the Bhagavad Gita, associate with devotees, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padam Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dashyam. Chanting the holy name, hearing and chanting and remembering and worshipping and serving and making friends with devotees, becoming a servant of the Lord. Because our original constitutional position is Jivaya Surupyahai Krishnaya Nichadas. Not only are we spirit soul and not the body, that's almost negative. I'm not the body. So what are you then? I'm not the car, I'm the driver of the car. So what is that soul? It's eternal. It's like I say, it's a spark out the fire. When it's out the fire, it gets cold. But when you chant the holy name, you're connecting back in the fire, and then that's like the heartbeat of the soul. That's where the fire starts again, and you become warm. So what is the constitution of that soul? It's Jivaya Surupahaya Krishnaya Nichadas. We're all eternal servants of God. We're all brothers and sisters. We're all children. And we're all down here in the material world, like a big stew, stewing round. But the human form of life, Prabhupada explains, the human form of life, out of all the species, is very rare. There's 8,400,000 different species. And, in the human form, Prabhupada explains, human form, you should make the best use of your bad bargain. You've come into the body, it's a difficult situation. You've got Adhyatmic, Adhibautic, Adhidevic, you've got to deal with your mind, pains of the mind, pains of the body, pains of other living entities, pains of the changes of supernatural forces like weather and tornadoes and cold and no sun, so many things, burdens. Then you've got your karma, your previous karma, your present karma, your desires. There's no way out but through chanting the holy name, through chanting God's names. That starts to pull back as they say, seeing the light through the trees. You start to focus a bit more, see the goalposts. Because without the goalposts, it's very difficult. It's samsara. It's continuously, samsara chakra. And under kupam, it's you're going round and round. Like I say, whatever Prabhupada explains, 8.6, Bhagavad Gita, that, what you're thinking of at that time, leaving the world, that state you attain. The laws of nature are very stringent. Maya, the material energy, she does her job very well. If the baby goes to the fire and he says, does it burn? Don't put your hand in, don't put your hand in, don't put your hand in. But he puts his hand in, the fire doesn't say, oh, you're a baby, I won't burn you. He burns. So Maya, thanklessly, she has a thankless task. She's a pure devotee, actually, of Krishna, but she does her job as a police officer in the material, like the Matrix. That's a good analogy. And the more we go material, the more difficult it gets. And the more we go spiritual, she lets the grip off, but still she'll test us. And so I lost my train of thought a bit. I've gone off, but so I was just sort of talking about trying to find myself back to the modes of nature we were talking about. Now these three modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance. So passion represents a red colour, and in passion is distress, hankering. Like in goodness is happiness, passion is active. And the symptoms of passion are like nectar. You go nectar, but then it's like poison because it ends in distress. And the mode of goodness is a bit like poison at the beginning because we've got to do this duty and purification and it tastes a bit like poison because we're not used to it. But then it becomes like nectar. And then there's the mode of tama, the mode of ignorance, which is actually helplessness. Is inertia, uncleanliness, and there's and it explains in the 17th chapter. There's like in the different modes of nature, everything's there, but there's food. It talks about the food you eat in the different modes of nature, the austerities you perform in the different modes, the charity you can do in different modes of nature, charity, and sacrifice. But on this text 19, it talks about austerities, and it gives this example in the purport. Prabhupada talks about this great demon called Hiranyakashipu. Hiranya means gold, Kashipu means soft bed, and he was very opulent, and he was born a great demon because he originally come from he was a devotee before. And they were sent to the material world, Jai and Vijay, and they made some offence on the doorways of Vaikuntha. But they didn't really make a full offence. It was actually Krishna's mercy. He arranged for them to have some pastimes. And he said to them, you can have 7 births as devotees down there. And they said, well, that'll take a while to come back. He goes, okay, you can have it, or you can have 3 births as demons, and we'll get it over and done with, and you can come back up. So they said, oh, we'll take the 3 births as demons, and they're great devotees. This is Jai and Vijay. So anyway, they come to the material world, and one of his first births was a great, powerful demon, Hiranyakashipu. And Hiranyakashipu, he didn't believe in God, but he followed Vedic processes. He did rise early, bathed, and did some sort of meditation, personal meditation on his own power, so-called. He thought he was the doer. Prakriti kriyamanani guna karmana sarvasya hankara vimudhatma kartayamichimanyate. The spirit soul is bewildered by the influence of the false ego. He thinks I'm the doer of the activities, but they're actually carried out by the free modes of material nature. So this Hiranyakashipu, he went to do some penances, and he's standing on one leg for thousands of years. He lived for thousands of years, and he was standing on there for so long. They built up this anthill around him, and it actually ate him. All the ants ate him, and he was just in his bones. And he had such shakti that he could still be alive because he had yogic siddhis, and the bones. He kept his life force within his bones, and then it was causing so much. Sort of like stuff going on, energy, that it started to cause fire in the universe, started to burn, and it started to get very hot. So Lord Brahma came, Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe. He came and he said, what do you need? He said, I can help you. Do you want to, obviously you're praying for something. So then Hiranyakashipu woke up and he said, yes. He goes, I want immortality, Amara. He goes, you're the creator of the universe. You can give me immortality, so I can, if there is a God, Vishnu, I can beat him. And he said, I can't give you immortality. I'm not immortal myself, Brahma said. I only live for a certain amount of time. Even though he lives for billions and trillions of years, it's still on the platform compared to Krishna. It's just like a blink. And so he said, okay, if you can't give me immortality, I want to live. I don't want to be killed in the night or the day, on the ground or off the ground, in the air or in the sky. I don't want to be able to be killed by any human or any animal or any a weapon or anything. He tried to cover all these angles of be immortal. And then Lord Brahma sort of didn't want to do it, but he gave him this boon. And anyway, we're running out of time, but look, Hiranyakashipu, he had a son, one son he had. And when he was doing his austerities, the funny thing is, when Hiranyakashipu was doing his austerities, he was on one leg when he was doing it. And one day, before he met Lord Brahma, on the tree, on the branch, these two birds come down, and they were sent by Narada Muni. I think one was, and they were sages, and they started chanting, Om Namo Narayan, Om Namo Narayan. So when he was doing his meditation, his fingers up in the air on one leg, all he could hear was God's names, Om Namo Narayan, Om Namo Narayan. And it was going on all day, and then he had to stop he chased them off, and then they come back and started chanting. And he was fuming. And that night, he actually had to, he was going to see his wife that night. He went back home, and he was going to conceive, actually. That was the evening of the conception of doing this. And when he conceived, all he could hear in his mind was Om Namo Narayan. So he was thinking of Krishna. And so it explains, even at the time of conception, if we're Krishna conscious, our child can become Krishna conscious. So when he conceived, gradually that baby became a pure devotee in the womb of his wife, and his name was Prahlad Maharaj. And so we'll just rush through the story. So what happened is, one day, because Hiranyakashipu was such a demon, he didn't want his son to learn anything spiritual, so he wanted him to learn material affairs and government and how to subdue the masses and make them learn his way. But Prahlad Maharaj, when he was at school, he used to just get all the kids chanting Hare Krishna. That's all he wanted to do, was chant and sing, because he was a pure devotee. And in the end, Hiranyakashipu got so upset with the situation. He said, "What did you learn at school today?" Sat him on his lap, and he said, "Oh, I learned many things, And he said, "But I learned that Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the goal of life is to surrender to God." And it upset Hiranyakashipu so much that he was going to have his son killed. He threw him out, and he told his servants to put him in, to kill him in the end. And they tried to put him in boiling oil and threw him off a cliff, put him under elephants. They stabbed him with sharp, lethal weapons. But each time Krishna was protecting him, and he just sat there and prayed. He didn't mind what was coming. He was just thinking of Krishna. He said, if this is the will of the Lord, Reke Krishna Marike, Mari Krishna Rekike, then he let it happen. And but he was protected. And in the end, he got so frustrated, he picked up a sword and he screamed. He said, your God. He said, where's your God? He said, I'm going to kill you myself with this sword. I'll sort this out. And he said, if you've got a powerful God, where is he now? Is he here? Is he there? Is he in that pillar? He pointed to the pillar. And Prahlad Maharaj said, yeah, he's in that pillar. He's in everything. He's in that pillar. So then he heard this awful sound. The funny thing was, as he looked over at the pillar and went to go and smash it, he heard this ominous sound, this sound of death coming out, Lord Nrsingadev. And then the pillar broke open and the Lord come out in the form of anger personified. And there's a beautiful picture over there of Lord Nrsingadev, half man, half lion. He was neither animal nor man. He was half man, half lion. And he wasn't, when he got hold of Hiranyakashipu, they had a fight and he put him over his knee. He wasn't on the ground or in the air. So Krishna sort of, he cut off all his wishes, and he let them become true as well, because he didn't want to be killed by any weapon or anything special, or this or that, or by any human. So everything that Lord Nrsingadev did was actually bona fide, and it wasn't going against his wishes. So in the end, he killed him, and because he was a great demon. And then eventually, the son Prahlad Maharaj, he knew that it was getting mercy, really, his father. And at that point, when he'd actually killed Hiranyakashipu, he tore his stomach open, and he actually used his intestines as a garden. Anyway, but it was a great mercy, actually, because this is mercy to also be killed by the Lord. Someone did ask, Prabhupada, why, Krishna's anger, why did God get angry? And he said, actually, your anger and Krishna's anger are very different. God doesn't get angry like us. He's doing it in a great beneficial way. So when he killed Hiranyakashipu, all the demigods were there around. They were very scared. They were all trembling. Lord Shiva was there. He was like looking at Lord Nrsingadev. He was like, I don't want to go over there. Lord Brahma was there, because he'd given him the boon to Hiranyakashipu. He was feeling a bit guilty. But Prahlad Maharaj, just because he's a pure devotee, just sort of walked over and looked up at Lord Nrsingadev, and Lord Nrsingadev was stroking his head with tears in his eyes because he loved his devotee. And, and he said, what can I give you? What's the boon you want? He said, my father, just please give him a great birth in his next, let him come back to you as fast as possible so he comes back to you. So he prayed for him, so it's the mercy of the devotee. Sometimes the mercy of the devotee is more merciful than the Lord. It's quite interesting. Okay, so I don't know if we've got time for questions, but we've got 5 minutes. Has anyone got a quick question? No, I think we'll end there. Don't worry if not. We'll get ready for Aarti otherwise. Okay, on Gantaraj, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Go Premanandi, Hare Krishna. All done. Yeah, we'll have Aarti in about 5 minutes, so... Any quick questions? Okay, cool. No problem.
4 more minutes.
4 more minutes, yeah. You can do it. Yeah, cool.
So, it's not a question, but I think when Prahlad Maharaj was called forward to pacify Lord Nrsingadev, and nobody was willing to go forward.
That's right, yeah.
Saying. And then I think it was Lakshmi was called to go forward, and Lakshmi was there as well. So she pushed Prahlad Maharaj, say, you do it.
Yeah. That's right, thanks, yeah.
Yeah, and that's interesting. I mean, certainly they are devotees as well. So why are they afraid? I mean, they're great devotees.
Well, actually, they say, sometimes I don't think she was so fearful, but she knew the son would soften, the boy would soften the situation. more. I forgot the exact philosophical reason, but obviously because Prahlad Maharaj he's the highest devotee. He's the greatest devotee, so...
Well, you can't get higher than, I mean, Lakshmi is on the chest.
Well, Prahlad Maharaj is... Yeah, she's got more of the Aishwarya. Well, of course, there's a lot of awe and reverence involved. But with Prahlad Maharaj, it's more... There's no awe and reverence, really. I mean, there is servitude, but he's... you know, it's... What, do you want to say anything?
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I just wanted to stretch this a little bit because I think there's something, when it's void of awe and reverence, it's a different mood. Right?
Yeah, Aishwarya,
it's
yeah.
much sweeter.
Well, Madhurya is much sweeter than Aishwarya. Yeah. Prahlad's mood was totally surrendered service, and much sweeter. It's a sweet mood. Yeah. Sorry, I just stepped off of the thing and I cut off a bit. Yeah. Yeah, you can't beat the mood of a pure devotee. I mean, Arjuna was driving Krishna's chariot, and he was calling Krishna to go left and right, and Krishna was following his orders. So in the same mood. Yeah. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thanks, yeah.
श्री श्री राधा गोकुल नंद की।
श्री श्री राधा गोकुलानंद की। श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की। श्री श्री गौर निताय की। श्रील प्रभुपाद की बजायो जायो गौरा चांदे आरती के शोभा। जाना विताटवाने जगा मरलो बा। डाके Vame gara